Hey, good evening, ma. Welcome, ma. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. If you can see my screen, could you just react Just use a reaction sign to react that you could see my screen. Okay. We have Lovina, Samuel, Oluwafemi, Obi, and we have Inyogbon, we have Miracle, and we have our great mentor. And we have our regular attendee, Ugoma Ajay. You always join our section and we appreciate you. So let's just give our DMNTs more time to join. Just give them like 10 minutes before we kickstart the section for today. So if you have some of their contacts, you could reach out to them, and I will be dropping the updates in our WhatsApp group. Good evening, Madam Titi. We are so happy to see your face this evening. Yes, ma. If you are talking, you are muted, ma.
Yeah, sorry, I thought I unmuted myself. Good evening to you all, and good evening, Oyimafu. I hope we are all doing well and ready for my class today. Thank you.
Okay. While we wait for others to join, so could you just drop on the chat your name and where you are joining us from and your expectation from this class? So today we'll be taking us through the next level on Exchange Online. So you could just drop by telling us your name and where you are joining us from. Just 5 more minutes for us to start. Yeah, Ugoma, you are joining from River State. Wow, that's a long distance. Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. Okay, and we also have Lovina Chibuzo. She's joining from Aja, Lagos State. Wow, thank you for joining. And we have Obiwulu Oliver also joining us from Lagos. Thomason from Lagos. Yeah, Lagos is taking the lead. So if you're joining the meeting, kindly mute your microphone. And we have Samuel from Magudu, Stephen from Agor Palace. I think we have a good number. We can go ahead to start the section. So I want to welcome every one of us to the Nigerian M365 Community Mentorship Program. This is the second stage of the mentorship program. It's the intermediate stage. So in this community, we train our mentees to become good in M365. And today we'll be talking about Exchange Online. So before I go further, let me just briefly introduce our speaker for today. So right on the screen, we have our speaker for today, the person of Madam Titilope Bello. I respect her so much. One, because of the consistency. He has over 14 years experience in IT. It's not easy. That consistency is so much that like it's a great one. So I want us to appreciate her and with a reaction for joining us today. And she happens to be my manager. Like she's somebody that she loves educating people. And she don't mind even telling you everything she knows, like just to teach you. She don't hold knowledge. And she has a very good heart to help and to guide people because I work with her. So if I don't work with her, it will be as if maybe what I'm saying are just mere lies, like, but they are for real. They are for real. So let's appreciate her. So she's the manager in Hashem Limited, and she has over the what we have here is 12 years, but it's more than that. She has over 14 years experience in IT. So like what we have there is just small compared to what Madam Titi has to offer. Like this is more or less like a summary. So like she's somebody that she guides. So let's encourage her today. So once the section starts, let's all endeavor to mute our microphone. I'll be dropping the screenshots of the slides on our WhatsApp group. And if you have any question, just drop it on the chat. At the end of the section, there will be room for question and answer. So I'll be handing over to our great speaker in the person of Madam Titi, my boss, to take us through on Exchange Online. Thank you, Ma. You have the floor.
Okay, oh, thank you very much. All these accolades and anyway, thank you very, very much. And then good afternoon to every single one of you on the call tonight. I welcome you once again, and I'm hoping you have been gaining a lot uh, based on from the various previous classes that we have had since we resumed this year, right? So the way it's going to be is, should I say, let me just share my screen very quickly. Share my screen. Yeah, we get. So, Okay. So can I know if you can see my screen?
Yes, Ma.
Yes.
I can see your screen live and direct.
All right. Thank you very, very much. So, good afternoon, good morning, good evening to you all from wherever you are joining us from this evening. And like I said, I really commended you guys for creating the time to join the classes in continuation of what we did last year. It was very nice learning together, um, meeting new people, and collaborating together. It was really nice. I saw a lot of collaboration during the exam period that people had to write their exam around that December, and it was so fun and so you look at what is going on in the community and you're so proud that, oh, I was part of this. And it wouldn't have counted if you guys hadn't come, listen, learn, and be willing to put in all of that effort to pass a certification, just to show that you were present in the class. I tell people most of the time, there is difference between going to school and the school passing through you, right? Or you pass by school or the school passing through you. So there are different kind of students in the class, right? It shows that you guys were in the class and you learned and you paid attention, because we were able to see a lot of that from the way most of you, God willing, passed your exam in flying colors. So thank you very much for your dedication and believing and trusting in us and making us proud, right? So now, in the exchange session of this particular track, or the intermediate classes that we have been having, last year we started at least with the beginner class, where we learned a bit about exchange, or what email services is. And we also went ahead to see how a tenant is being set up, and we were able to create mailboxes. We created a few mailboxes using the classic portal, and we also made use of the PowerShell to be able to achieve a few things, right, during as at that time last year. So we went further to learn about the various type of groups, that's groups in Exchange Online. We were able to learn about the different type of groups, the Microsoft 365 group, distribution groups, email security groups, and the likes. We took a step further to also learn how to assign permissions, right, to mailboxes or users within the organization. Take the case of a manager, the CEO, either a manager and his assistant, or the CEO and the assistant who is helping to manage the mailbox of the CEO, right? So in this season, we are taking it further, right? We are taking it further by going a bit deep diving into just a bit of advanced aspect of Exchange Online, right? And then here at the general agenda, we are going to be introduced to Exchange Online deployment models and migration, right? We'll also talk about advanced management of mailboxes, and then administration in Exchange Online. And we'll talk about Mayflow. Yes, we talked about Mayflow a bit last year, but we didn't go deep into it. So this year, or in this particular series, we are going to look at Mayflow, we'll look at transport rule, and we'll look at a bit of message security, because security, yes, we'll say we have people that are dedicated to the security, but you, as an administrator who is managing your Exchange environment, you need to also understand what are the steps you can take to secure your mailboxes within the portal before relying completely on the security team to do the job for you. So we are going to do a bit of that. Now, let's get started with the Exchange Online deployment and migration. So what are we going to be focusing on in this particular topic for today? That's introduction to Exchange Online deployment and migration. We'll talk about the, let me just pull up my laser just in case. So we'll be talking about Exchange Online deployment models. We'll look at two major models, right, and their use cases. And we will look at the email migration and coexistent strategies. When we get there, you understand what coexistent means. Just be patient, we'll get there, right? And we are going to look at hybrid deployment. Those are the type of the different type of migration, email migration that we have. We have the hybrid deployment, or it's also called remote move migration. We have what we call cross-tenant migration. We have stage migration and cutover migration, and we have IMAP migration, and also Google Workspace migration. Google Workspace migration also uses IMAP, but a bit of advanced, because it can do more than what IMAP migration can do. And our lab this time is going to be focusing on, we'll be focusing on the IMAP migration. I would like to show us the step-by-step guide of how to perform an IMAP migration within the environment. We'll have loved to test or do things like hybrid migration or cross-tenant migration, but one, time might not permit. Two, we will need resources to be able to set up or to be able to configure hybrid migration. You need resources. I mean, you need a little bit of powerful or powered computer or PC that you can use, because you have to set up on-premises Exchange server and the Active Directory and AD Connect or Entra Connect. You have to set up. There are a few infrastructure that investment that have to be made. However, if a few of you have access to Azure, you can actually do it. Maybe if you do, it's possible we can look at other time to look at hybrid deployment. But in this particular track or series, we might not be looking at that because of the resource requirement. So now, the talking about Exchange Online deployment methods, right? We have we have two major deployment methods or models that we have. You have the cloud-only deployment model and you have the hybrid deployment model. We'll get there. Now, when it comes to email migration or choosing the model that you're going to be using, there are a few things that must be considered, and there are reasons that causes organization to go for this option against this option, right? Reason for most organizations include, maybe they can look at different benefits, and benefit can be in terms of scalability, it can be in terms of speed, it can be cost, it can be security. So if, like I said earlier, in terms of, in the case of hybrid deployment, there are other investment that you have to make. So there's financial investment that is needed to be made. And then, but for cloud, you don't need to make any extra investment for cloud mailbox deployment or email deployment with Exchange Online, right? Other things is, other reason why you have to go for one deployment model against another is because of mailbox management. Now, the way you manage email or your user mailboxes in the cloud when you deploy cloud only is different from the way you manage when you deploy hybrid. When you are running a hybrid environment, the way you manage the users are different. And one of those different is, okay, you want to create a new mailbox. Do you create this user in the cloud, or do you need to go to the on-premise Exchange server to create that? So in this case, once you are in the cloud or once you deploy hybrid Exchange in your environment, you cannot make certain changes to the users in the cloud. In fact, the moment you click an account to make a change, you see that message that says, go to the on-premises. You cannot make this change on this particular user because the user is synced from your on-premises Active Directory, right? And it will tell you to go to your on-premises Exchange server to go and make that change. So management, but what about the ease of managing mailboxes? Those are a few things that can determine whether an organization is going to go with hybrid or they are going to go with cloud-only deployment. Another reason is in terms of, I said speed the other time. What do I mean by speed? Are you looking at a situation where you want to do what we call big bang migration? So that means you want to move everybody at the same time. Just look at one weekend between Friday evening close of business and Sunday and Monday 6 a.m. kind of all mailboxes have completed migration. Those are things that will influence the deployment model that you are going to be going for. Now, I'm going to move very quickly now to the, sorry. The slide is moving, but this one is not moving. Okay. One magic is happening here on my on my system, but let me just ignore it. Okay, so now let's talk a bit about one of the deployment models that we have is the cloud-only deployment. I think I've said a bit about it earlier. Now, when an organization choose cloud-only deployment approach for mailboxes or for email, in this case, it means after the deployment, all the mailboxes are going to reside or are going to be hosted, homed. Let me say homed. It means they will be homed in Office 365 or Microsoft 365 environment. If it is hybrid, it means the mailboxes might be hosted in the cloud or they might be on-prem. Now, one thing you need to take note is this. If you are doing hybrid, your mailbox or a user's mailbox can only exist in a place at a time. The fact that you are doing hybrid or you configure hybrid in your environment does not mean, oh, if Exchange on-prem goes down, all the users they have a copy of their mailbox in the cloud and they will be using the cloud mailbox. No, it is one mailbox in a place at a time. It's either a user belongs to the on-prem, is hosted on an on-prem database, or the user is moved to the cloud. You cannot have two mailboxes. So please, I need you to take note of that. Now, for cloud-only deployment, like I said, all mailboxes are hosted in Exchange Online and accessible from anywhere in the world. If you have, like I said, there is no on-prem, sorry, a call is coming in, stopping my. The other thing is that there is no on-prem servers that is required. So it also depends also on which environment you are coming from. If your email is currently hosted in a cloud, in another cloud service provider, maybe like is hosted with GoDaddy, or you are hosting your mailboxes with Network Solutions or with Rack Center, right? And you want to migrate. In that case, it's cloud-only deployment you are going to be doing, right? Because you don't own those environments. It is hosted in another provider's environment. So you don't have full control. You only have control of your mailboxes that are there. So in that case, you'll be doing cloud-only deployment. Now, it's only if you now have Exchange on-prem, you need to make, even when you have Exchange on-prem, you need to decide, do you want to do cloud-only? It means you will migrate all the mailboxes and decommission the Exchange server. So decommission means after you've migrated all your mailboxes, get rid of the Exchange server from on-prem and you are now cloud only. So that's one thing. But with cloud only, there is no on-premises server. That means there is no additional investment that you have to make as an organization, right? There's no cost for hardware, no cost for server licenses, no cost for operating system, no cost for maintenance, cooling, power, and the rest. All of those costs are being eliminated if you are going cloud-only deployment. Now, the other thing benefit or features of cloud-only deployment is what we call simplified management. Simplified management, when your users are in the cloud, you can make all the changes that you want to make in the cloud. You don't have the need to say, oh, you have to run PowerShell, you have to go to the on-prem Exchange server to go and do some things, or if there's no Exchange server in the environment, you have to do it from Active Directory to go and effect those changes. The management, making changes, creating users, creating mailboxes, giving permissions is very, very seamless when it comes to cloud-only deployment. What about the okay. What about the hybrid deployment, right? Now, for Exchange hybrid, it allows organizations to extend. What it's doing is extending their on-premises exchange environment to the cloud. Remember, I said if you have exchange hybrid deployed, it does not mean your mailboxes are in the two places at the same time. Your mailbox can only reside in one place at a time. Now, why will somebody or an organization opt for hybrid deployment? One is seamlessness. That's the seamlessness of migration. The preparation can be cumbersome. The preparation can involve extra costs. But after that setup is established, after the hybrid pipe is established, the management or the mailbox migration from one organization, exchange organization to another, to the cloud exchange organization is very seamless. And what is this seamlessness really? It means during the process of the move, from the start to the mailbox is moved completely to the cloud. The user does not know that anything is happening. They don't even know that any change has happened. They don't even know that their mailboxes has been moved from the on-premise Exchange server to Exchange Online. They don't know. The only reason or the only way they will know is if you have educated them that, okay, we are running a particular deployment, which is very important, that users will be aware of the change that is coming in the environment. Now, if you have informed them, the only thing that they are going to see after their mailbox has completed move from the on-premise Exchange server to the cloud Exchange server is they'll get a prompt. And that prompt is going to say, tell the user, please close our Outlook and relaunch again. The process of closing Outlook and relaunching it is the Outlook we have to disconnect itself from the on-premises Exchange server and reconnect itself to Exchange Online. That process is called auto discovery. So it's going to disconnect from the on-premise server, and through the auto discovery protocol, it will locate where the user mailbox now reside and goes there and connect to that server, right? So that's one key feature or one key benefit that hybrid deployment gives. Hybrid deployment also offer you what we call coexistence, a kind of coexistence. If we have a need to migrate to the cloud. Now, we have a situation where there are so many users. It's not something that you will do the migration once and for all and you finish it very quickly. No, it's a situation of if you have like thousands of users, you have to do the migration gradually. Once you establish an hybrid deployment for your Exchange environment, it creates a coexistent pipe. So there's what we call mail flow. It means your users in the cloud can communicate still. They can send email to the users on-prem and vice versa, right? If you look at this diagram here, you see this they call LAN. This LAN is actually the on-premise environment. And you see DMZ here. This is where your firewall is, because there will always be firewall that is protecting your internal servers from the internet, while Exchange Online is in the cloud on the internet already in Microsoft data center. So there have to be what they call an hybrid pipe that is created once you run the hybrid configuration wizard to configure your hybrid. But before that happens, there are also prerequisites that you need to put in place. One of the prerequisites is to set up intra-connect. That's why we put directory synchronization here. For you to set up hybrid environment, you must set up a directory synchronization that will sync your user from your AD or from your Active Directory to Entra ID or Azure AD, right? You have to, you must, is a must, is a requirement. You can't run hybrid, you can't configure hybrid without directory synchronization in place. Now, one of the other benefits of hybrid is what we call FreeBC, FreeBC information, right? What does that mean? From if you go to calendar today, if you go to your calendar in your organization and you search for somebody's name, or even by the side, you might see the list of people, maybe people in your group or in your own department, your colleagues, your direct colleague. You might see their calendar. You will be able to see when they are available to join a meeting, when they are not available. You'll be able to see if they are not available, what event do they have? What event is blocking that particular calendar? That is what they call FreeBC information. It also enables what we call centralized mail flow. Now, because we have configured hybrid between the two environments, we can choose to say, oh, all our emails, before it goes out, we want every email that is coming from users, not your users now. Let's say we have company A has established hybrid, or Contoso has established hybrid in their environment. Contoso has a few users mailboxes in the on-prem exchange, and they have a few user mailboxes in the cloud. Now, before the cloud user send email out, there is protection. It's what they call Exchange Online, or EOP. The email passes through the Exchange Online protection to get delivered to the user. Likewise, when the email is coming, let's say email is coming from Adaton now. Adaton is not a member of Contoso, right? They are regarded as external or internet user. When the email coming, it gets to the system that receive it is Exchange Online protection. When Exchange Online protection receive, he scan the email for virus and the anti-spam and spam and everything. If it is clean, then he check the mailboxes in the cloud. Oh, there's this user. The user exists within the environment, right? But the mailbox, it doesn't have a mailbox here. Then he check the property of the user. There are properties that tells the user, they call it mail routing, that tells the server where the mailbox of that user is hosted. Oh, it's on-prem. Then it passes through the connector that has been created here. There's a connector here, we'll get there. It passes through there to go and deliver this email, right? So an organization can say every email that comes from outside, whether it's for user in the cloud or from user on the on-prem Exchange server, let it first drop on the on-prem Exchange server. Then Exchange server will take it to the cloud. Or let all email drop in Exchange Online, and Exchange Online will always now take it to Exchange on-prem. So that's what they call centralized mail flow. A situation where all your mailbox, all your emails are delivered to one place, and from that place is being distributed to the users appropriately. Now, before the deployment, you also have to take certain steps. Like I said, one of the steps is to set up directory synchronization. You have to configure your exchange to be reachable over the internet, accessible over the internet, especially what they call, there's a service or protocol that is required, which is called Exchange Web Services. Is that Exchange Web Service protocol? It's what is making it easy for even your users that are sitting in their house to connect to your Exchange on-prem and access it. And the same thing apply in the cloud, right? So it enable what we call gradual migration. Once you set up hybrid, you can move your user for as long as you want. You don't have to rush, right? For the fact that when you move the user, move a mailbox from on-prem to the cloud, it starts the sync. What it does is it creates a copy here. it starts synchronization, syncing it. When it gets to 95% of syncing the data, at 95%, it has finished syncing all the data. Then, by the time it finishes syncing, it then remove the ones that is on-prem and enable the one that's in the cloud for the user. So that's why we said the mailbox exists at a single location at a time. It cannot be at two locations for a user, right? So looking at use cases, I think I've already even said a few. Right. Organizations that are now adopting Exchange Online, they, like we said, they have option to choose between these two. Either they go cloud only or they go hybrid. A few things, like I said earlier, influence that decision. For organizations that uses cloud only, they can be startup. They're just starting business. They don't have email before now. They don't have email anywhere. Or organizations that are already using maybe Google Cloud, or they are using Rackspace or Rack Center email, or they have Exchange on-prem, but about 150 mailboxes. Those organizations are small and can leverage the cloud-only deployment. Or when an organization have do not have what we call legacy Exchange on-prem, they can be using email service like Lotus Note, Zoho, and a lot of them are out there. Such organizations can adopt the cloud-only model. But what are the considerations? We talk about simplified management, no on-prem infrastructure, no additional investment, and the speed also of the migration are the considerations that an organization have to look at to choose whether they want to go hybrid or cloud. Now, for the hybrid, mostly is large organization that uses this. Small SMB, that small business also does, but mostly large organization that have over 150 mailboxes in their environment. And mind you, hybrid is only possible with Exchange, with Microsoft Exchange. You cannot set up hybrid with Lotus Note. You cannot set up hybrid with Zimbra. You cannot set up hybrid with Zoho. However, you can set up what they call coexistent, right? We'll get there. You can set up what they call coexistent. Now, for hybrid, like I said again, you require on-premise Exchange organization or servers to be set up. It will allow you to do gradual migration, and it's allow you to be able to migrate mailboxes with little to no downtime, right? Within your environment. So your user only get to see a pop-up message that says close your Outlook and relaunch, and that is all. They don't need to do any other thing. Now, let's now talk a bit about email coexistence, email migration and coexistence strategies, right? When it comes to email migration, the first thing you have to do is to plan and choose and determine the approach that you are going to be using. So migrating your email to Exchange Online actually require a very careful and strategic planning. There are factors that can influence that. One, like we said in the past slide, is the size of the business. Small business, mid-sized business, enterprise business, and startups that doesn't have any system in place, or organization with no legacy email system at all, right? Or how much downtime can you tolerate within your environment? If a user cannot send email, does that translate to billions of dollars for that user, right? You have to, a lot of those things have to determine. It's also in the process of your planning, You determine whether it's hybrid you want to go for. You determine whether it's cloud only you want to go for. You determine if you are going for each of them. You determine your requirement, all the prerequisites that need to be met before you can do your migration. For instance, in addition to what we have talked about for hybrid, one of the other things that you need when it comes to hybrid is the fact that you require third-party certificate. That's third-party SSL certificate. So if you have been using your on-premises exchange before without certificate, that's additional investment. You require AD Connect or Entra Connect, where you say you just set up a virtual machine, but that virtual machine is going to consume a license, right? That's additional investment. In some environment, they will require what we call federation service. Federation service is required if you have your resources spanning multiple Active Directory environment. That's one. Or if you have the need for users from another organization to connect to your own environment and use. That's two. Or if you want a situation whereby any application users use or open or launch on their computer, they don't have to sign in again, right? So in the past, you have to invest, make additional investment with Active Directory Federation Service and server, and minimum of server that is required for that is 2. So you consider that, consider the operating system licenses, consider the certificate that will be required, and then firewall configuration and administrator capacity to be able to manage the particular service, right? So you have to plan where a well-structured plan is required for the migration to go smoothly and efficiently, right? Like I said, another thing is business needs. Business requirement can force you to go with one approach or the other. So which means you must be able to identify the business need. What is the goal of the organization in moving to the cloud? Sometimes their goal can be to reduce the footprint, the on-prem footprint. Sometimes their goal can be because they are investing too much in on-premises server management, in power. Take, for instance, in Nigeria today, power has become, luxury for a lot of organizations. They are running generator from morning to evening, Monday to Friday, to ensure that the business continues to run. So in such case, an organization might want to migrate all of their email services and collaboration services to the cloud to get rid of the on-prem server and reduce the power usage in the on-prem environment. So there are different reasons, right? And to also determine, it can also be compliance requirement where certain users' mailbox, because of their role in the business, cannot be hosted in the cloud and have to be hosted locally. So there are different things that you will consider. We also talk about downtime, right? How much downtime is the business willing to tolerate? If anything happens and the things break, how much downtime can the user and the organization accommodate or tolerate, right? Now, choosing cloud only. If you go cloud only, you have to reconfigure Outlook for all the users. You have to reconfigure their mobile devices. Any device they are using to connect at all, you have to reconfigure it. You have to even train them on how to use it. So how much impact do you want to make on the user? Remember that your project is not successful until users are using it and is benefiting them. Truly is really benefiting and it reduce cost for the organization. That is when a project is actually has succeeded. That's when the project, we can say your project is successful. So these are a few things that they have to consider. And then since we have already talked about the different methods that you can pick. It also determines the different requirements, the sizes of requirements, what are the things you need to get, things you need to pay for, and knowledge, know-how of your IT. Are you going to go with a partner or you want to rough it yourself? So there's a lot of things that you have to consider. I just want you to know that there are planning that need to be done and there are approaches that need to be taken for smooth migration of your organization's email services to the cloud. So now let's pick the deployment, the migration. These are now migration methods that we want to talk about now, one after the other, right? Again, the first one is we have hybrid deployment. Now with hybrid deployment, it also have two options. The other time I talk about free BC information, I talk about remote mailbox move. So there are options. If you go for hybrid, there are still choices that you have to make. One of the choice is what type of hybrid migration are you setting up? Is it what we call, there is the minimal hybrid setup or express setup and the full hybrid setup. Now, for the minimal hybrid setup, it allows you to quickly migrate mailboxes from your on-premises Exchange server to Exchange Online, right? Users can quickly, it's very quick. You don't need serious time at hand and all of that. So for this one, is designed specifically for small organization, right? Or medium-sized organization that is seeking very effective solution for their migration, and they want it quick migration, but at the same time, they want to reduce that downtime, right? Users are still, mailboxes are still moved while users are working. It doesn't disturb. Now, this minimum migration option or approach is a short-term coexistence strategy, right? It's a short-term coexistence strategy. It means after you've moved all your mailboxes, you just go ahead and decommission your on-premises Exchange server and free those boxes. If they are physical, you free them to be used for something else. If they are virtual, you delete the virtual and free the resources on the physical host. That's that. So now here, if you notice here, clients are still connecting to Exchange on-prem while you are moving Mayflow. Now, in this case, there is no free BC information. You cannot get full availability information of the people within your on-prem environment because all the configuration that need to be done to achieve that is not done because we are leveraging the speed that we can get from this minimal hybrid migration. I hope you can still hear me. Let me just check that we're still here.
Yes, ma'am. Can hear you, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So someone is asking, what is the essence of hybrid? Because it will cost extra expenses. Why not stick to the cloud then? So now I think there is possibility you've gotten your answer from all that I have been saying, right? Different things will determine why an organization will go for hybrid. Like we said, in the process of migration, if you go with cloud only, you have to go and reconfigure your users' Outlook. You have to reconfigure the client and computers. You have to then you choosing the cloud also determine where you are coming from, your source. Where is the source that you are bringing your emails from? That is also determined. But if you want seamlessness in terms of migrating the users, in terms of managing the mailboxes afterwards, rather, in terms of leveraging, oh, let's do it in period of 6 months. We'll use 6 months to migrate all mailboxes because we have like 10,000 users or mailboxes in our environment. We cannot do quick like that. And people are working from across different countries. So before, all of those arrangements and the rest, I think it's better we just go with hybrid. So there are a few things or quite a lot of things that can determine or causes an organization to opt for hybrid against cloud. However, after migrating all the mailboxes, even if took you 2 years to finish the migration, you can choose to decommission the on-prem Exchange server and convert to cloud-only mailboxes. But in that case, because of the maybe number of users you have in the environment, I'm sure you have AD Connect or Entra ID configured for your environment as well. If you do not decommission your Entra ID, it means you will still have to be coming back to on-prem to make changes to those user accounts from your Active Directory. But if you decommission both the Exchange and the Entra Connect server, then you can make all your change in the cloud. In that case, users' mailboxes will now be converted to purely cloud or cloud only. So the choice is the choice is yours or your organization to see the one that really best suit their need, right? Their need. Long term, you have to look at long term, not just the immediate, right? There are times the immediate benefit pays off, while there are times the long-term benefit pays off. So moving on, I'm going to talk now about hybrid. I will talk about hybrid migration already, in the sense that it enables what we call coexistence. And full hybrid migration allow for long-term coexistence between an on-prem Exchange server and Exchange online. So you can just go to your Exchange on-prem if you want to create a user, for instance, a new user, a new staff or new staff members just came into your organization and you need to provision their mailbox. All you need to do is to go to your on-premise Exchange server. Where is it there? Oh, where is it? Okay, yes, you go to your on-prem Exchange server. I didn't even look at the diagram I put here. You go to your on-prem Exchange server, and from the on-prem Exchange server, you just right-click and say new remote mailbox. The moment you say new remote mailbox, the mailbox is going to be created straight in the cloud. It's not that you finish creating and start moving it to the cloud. No, you create it straight in the cloud, and you can manage the mailbox and the user on the on-prem. So I've also talked about the seamless mailbox migration or mailbox move, right? So while you initiate a mailbox move, a user is still sending, is receiving, he doesn't know anything is happening, doesn't know anything has happened. Once the mailbox migration, he moved the content up to 95%, then he erase or clear the mailbox data or there's what we call attributes or properties in the user account in AD. It clears that data and replace it with an ID that tells the Exchange server that this user's mailbox now exists or reside in the cloud. And also, I talk about for compliance need or purposes is why you will also opt for Exchange hybrid migration, full one for that matter, right? So now talking about hybrid migration, the full and the minimal, there are two types now. There is this classic hybrid migration and there is the modern hybrid migration, right? You will notice that the classic, you have three: you have full, you have minimal, you have express. And each of them, you can see the difference, right? full is permanent hybrid operation and is full stack. When I say it's full stack, you look at the developers, you have the front end. If somebody have the ability, if somebody is able to do front end and do back end, they call them full stack developer, right? So the full hybrid configuration is what they call full stack, right, deployment. And then you look at the minimum is temporary hybrid deployment, and there are things that are not available there, like the FreeBC information might not be there. Then the express is the easiest. You want to see the other one. This one might be for permanent or long, very long term. This is for a few months, or this you want to migrate the this you want to migrate the mailboxes over a few days or few weeks, right? Now, when we talk of the modern, full and minimum, same thing, right? Apply here. If you notice when you log into the portal, there are services or certain portal that tell you, do you want to go to classic or you want to go to the new one? The same thing apply here when you run the hybrid configuration wizard, right? You're going to see it. Now, the version of Exchange that you are using will also determine the one, which of this is really supported, right, for your migration. Now, let's talk very quickly about the cross-tenant migration. In what situation will you require a cross-tenant mailbox move? We have a situation where our company, Contoso, just acquired Adaton. Now, Contoso is currently in the cloud. Where's my, let me see if I can pull up, what do they call it now? What's the drawing, sorry, the name just left my head. The drawing app in Teams, please. Somebody help me.
Okay.
Sorry? Or let me just use Paint. The person didn't talk again. What happened? Are you shy or you're afraid to speak? Oh, just use Paint. So here, let's say we have here, we have Contoso here. We have Adaton. Okay, let's look at option. I need to type. That's the issue with this. Okay, so we have Contoso here and we have Adaton. Hold on, let me try and get my.
Is it Microsoft Whiteboard?
Yes, whiteboard. Thank you. This one, no, it's not giving me option to. Shit. Okay, just let's give it some second to load. Okay. So here, okay. Now here we have where is the shape. We have Contoso here, and we have Adaton here. Adaton.co and Contoso.com. Now, each of them have their tenants, M365 tenants. Each of them are already in Office 365. or they're already in Microsoft 365. Because we've acquired the Contoso have acquired Adaton. Now, how will Contoso bring or onboard, migrate the user's data from Adaton up to Contoso? Since they are both in Office 365 or Microsoft 365, you have two options to migrate them, to migrate Adaton over to Contoso. One of the options is to go by third-party migration option or approach. So you do what they call tenant-to-tenant migration. You use a third party, and that third party will help you migrate the users, migrate the mailboxes, migrate Teams, migrate OneDrive, migrate SharePoint site, and the rest over to Contoso. Now, when they come to Contoso, we will also adopt their domain so that they can continue to use their domain temporarily or as an additional email address in addition to contoso.com domain, email domain. That way, users can continue to receive email from the existing customer that is not aware that their domain name or email domain has changed, right? So, but the second option is what was just introduced by Microsoft, that is called that is called cross tenant. This cross tenant is not is not like the hybrid, but is kind of, yes, let me say it's kind of enabling some form of hybrid between one Office 365 or Microsoft 365 environment to another, right? So once you enable what they call cross, so here there are configurations you need to do from each of the tenants, and there are also licenses that you need to purchase. Before you can perform what they call cross-tenant migration, you need to buy a particular license that is for cross-tenant from Microsoft, directly from Microsoft, before you can do that. However, if that is not an option for you, you can do what they call tenant-to-tenant migration, where you introduce a third party in the middle here. You introduce a third party. That third party can be the likes of migration. What's their name again? Migration Wiz, right? Migration Wiz. Let me just shorten it. That's Migration Wiz, the company that bears that, right? Or there are a lot of third-party migration application or solutions out there that allow you to seamlessly move data from here. This company uses Azure. They will take the data from here, hold it temporarily in a machine in Azure or VM in Azure, and from that VM, move it back. You don't have a view to the VM. It's like a software as a service, right? You don't have a view to it, but that is it. You can also use backup software or solution like Vim Backup to back up this environment and restore it to this environment. That is what they call either cross-tenant migration or tenant-to-tenant migration. That's tenant-to-tenant. It is an advanced migration approach or methodologies for organization. And this cross-tenant migration happen as a result of merger and acquisition. Like I said, Contoso acquired Adaton. It can also be a situation whereby it might not be acquisition, it might just be a case of we are merging our businesses. Now, for us to be able to send email to one another securely and see privacy information of users across the two tenants, we can implement the cross-tenant migration. And like I said, admin control is required. So from both tenants, right? You need access and control, administrator control. So for Adaton, the administrator, like the global admin, must be present. And for Contoso, the global admin must be present as well, right? So that's that about cross-tenant or tenant-to-tenant migration. The other migration type that we have is staged migration or cutover migration. Let's talk about them very quickly. Starting with staged migration. What do we refer to as staged migration? Staged migration majorly deals with exchange environment. However, while leveraging a form of temporary coexistence between two email platforms, you can also enable stage migration for a non-exchange environment. So in this case, while you're doing your migration, you can configure Mayflow to be happening so that you can take your time to do your migration, whether it's from Google environment or from Yahoo business, like that. So you can use. Now, stage migration allow you to perform batch migration, meaning you are not migrating the users at once. You are migrating them over a period of time with minimum downtime. Minimal downtime in this case is that if you are using exchange environment, it can also be stage migration is a form of hybrid. So it will also be a thing of, it's just that the exchange server is going to stay for short period, not for longer period like hybrid is, right? So you minimize downtime by, if we have, let's say in the sales department, you have 50 people and it is time to migrate the sales department. You wouldn't want to cripple the entire sales department. You want to migrate maybe 25, half of them, get them comfortable to take over the job of the remaining half by the time their own mailbox or service is down for them. So that's the one reason you will go for a stage migration. It's also ideal for large organizations that have mailboxes of over 2,000 mailboxes, so that you can ensure that you do it in batches. As you finish a batch, get them comfortable, you start the next batch. You get them comfortable, you start the next batch. That way, it will reduce the level of support call that will come into IT. Oh, my mails are not dropping, my mails are missing, documents. So it will just reduce that because you have smaller group of people to manage when you come to support. And it requires Exchange version, right? So you need to set up Exchange in your on-prem, and that's it. You have to set that, like I said, for Exchange environment. But for non-Exchange environment, to perform a stage migration will be to set up a form of coexistence between the two environments and do the user migration and mailbox migration gradually, right? So, but if you are in Exchange environment, the minimum Exchange server version that you need is 2010 or later. You cannot perform stage migration for you can perform stage migration for 2007, Exchange Server 2007 or 2003 environment, right? So the next one is cutover migration. Cutover migration means you want to migrate all mailboxes at once. Maybe take a week or 2 weeks or weekend to migrate all mailboxes. Once you finish the migration, migrating, you will initiate initial synchronization. That's what you initiate, initial synchronization. And after you finish syncing, you change your MS record to point to your Office 365 or Microsoft 365. Then after you do that, you go and initiate a sync, what they call a delta sync. Yes, delta means the changes, emails that have dropped while the migration is being done. Now, in the case of stage migration, in the case of cutover migration, you are having two mailboxes. It's not moving the mailbox like hybrid. It's only creating a copy of the mailbox in the cloud, right? That means your on-prem mailbox or from whatever source you are having it still remains there. nothing is going to happen to it. So if anything happens, somebody is shouting, oh, their mailboxes, their mails are missing, they can't see some email, you can just go back to the source server and get those email for the user. Now, environment that cut over migration support when it comes to Exchange is support 2003 up to 2013, right? 2003 up to 2013, and is ideal for organizations that have fewer mailboxes than 2,000. Fewer mailboxes than 2,000. Like I said, all mailbox migration will be initiated, and mailbox move will be happening simultaneously for all users. Now, in this case of stage migration, synchronization is going on, but you can also configure how many mailbox can sync at a time, right? It's a bit, there's a little configuration that you can do there. Now, talking about IMAP and the Gmail migration. IMAP migration is for majorly you can use it for Exchange server as well, but it is designed majorly for non-Exchange environment. Designed majorly for non-Exchange environment. You talk of the Yahoo, Gmail, or G Suite. Then you talk of Zomail, Zimbramail, Lotus Notemail, email from GoDaddy's email, network solutions, and all of those email type. You can actually use IMAP migration to migrate your users' data from that email system to Microsoft 365. Now, when it comes to IMAP, there are limitations that you have to be aware of. When you are using IMAP migration method or option, one of the things you need to consider are the type of content that you can migrate. You can migrate mailboxes. Email. You talk of inboxes and subfolders that contain email messages. You can migrate them. Contacts. IMAP migration will not migrate contacts, and it will not migrate calendar as well, but it will migrate only email content. That's what is going to migrate for you. So if you have email in your inbox and your inbox have hierarchy, that's the created folder. So it will move that. It will move just the mailbox, things in your inbox and any other subfolder you created, but it's going to leave your contacts and calendar. So an organization have to decide whether they want to go by IMAP migration. Now, instead of you performing IMAP migration, you can actually use a third-party tool. Third-party tool is also, we use IMAP at the background, but it go beyond just moving only email item. It will move your calendar item, it will move your contact, it will move task, it will move list, and the rest and the rest. But if you are going with purely IMAP migration, you will lose your list, you will lose your contact, you will lose your calendar and some other things that are not email. So that's the difference between that and the other type of email migration option. Then Google Mail, G Suite, Google Workspace, they also make use of IMAP migration at the background, right? But Microsoft have a tight integration to migrate Google Workspace. So it also help, because we are using Microsoft tool, it helps to migrate emails, contact, calendar, unlike standard IMAP. If you decide to use, you can use standard IMAP to do the migration, but remember the limitation that we talk about. Now, there are things you need to do when you are doing email migration from Google. When you are doing IMAP migration, you have two options. When it comes to based on the process or the steps that you have to take. One is you need the credential of the mailboxes from the source. You need the username and the password of every single user that you are going to be migrating their mailboxes. So now that's a security risk because you are leaving everybody, including the CEO, including all the directors, they are leaving their password in the hands of the administrator. To eliminate this, you have another option that you can do when you are migrating from Google. But that will require you to ensure that 2FA is configured for all users. And you will create a kind of similar to global administrator that we have in the cloud. You will create an administrator that will have full rights or delegation on all mailboxes. So it means you will be able to go into the Google workspace and copy the content over to Microsoft 365. Now, it's also a copy that is being made here. Whether you use IMAP or you use Google's tool, is a copy that is being made here, right? It's not lifting the mailbox from Google and dropping it in Office 365. It's making a copy to that to Microsoft 365 side. Looking at in terms of Exchange, let's say if it is Exchange you are running in your environment and you want to know or other email platform, the best migration method or approach that will work for them. You look at the sources here. We have from Exchange 2000 and earlier. You can only use IMAP migration for them. From 2003, you can do cutover and you can do stage migration. From 2007, also stage and cutover. If you look at 2010, you have minimal, hybrid, and express. So now for 2010, you will be using the classic hybrid migration approach if you are going this hybrid option, right? Then for 2013, also the same thing as 2010, 2016, the same thing. However, for any other email system or email platform, only IMAP migration is supported. So I think that will somehow bring us to the end of this talking that we have been talking since morning. And then we are going to start now a bit of lab. Okay. Or Hanson, do we have more questions before we jump into that? Share the presentation. No problems. Okay, that's all. All right. So now, I do not know how many of us, right, have, I believe every single one of us have access to a tenant. Can I understand this tenant? Is it just you that has it, or you have other users that are co-tenants with you? Oyimafu, please, can you help me? What's the tenant like? Is it that everybody have their own tenant?
Everybody have login credential to an educational tenant, ma'am.
Okay, so there's a central tenant that we're all connecting to.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. All right, so I don't know how you try the lab, but I believe you should be able to. Now, for you to be able to do IMAP, one of the things, or for you to learn when it comes to this learning, Exchange, Active Directory, Entra ID, and the rest, you should be willing to make some level of investment, right? So one of the things you have to do, or that you should do, is to at least obtain a domain name. So that's purchase a domain name in your name to yourself, and you can use that domain to do and undo, to try out things, right, in your lab environment. So just let me stop Okay, there's no need to stop screen share. Just end the slide. Escape. It's not escaping. Okay. All right. So in order for us to be able to test, I would have loved to use Google, right, to try. But I saw a limitation, which I'm always trying to see how the lab can be done without any form of investment from our side, right? Because we are still learning for us to start adding card. And it would have also been good if we can add our Naira card. But unfortunately, because of the Nigerian rule and the rest, most organization does not, most international or online shopping does not accept our own Naira card. So we are forced to always look for something free that we can use. Okay. So what I've done is to do a bit of research on which email platform we can use that we can sign up to without um, uh, without adding our card or looking for dollar card to use, right? And I came across Zoo, yeah. There are other ones, but I think this is okay. So I came across Zoo, and I think I have the URL somewhere, or you can just go to. I use this browser. It's going to open on top. Zoo. So some of us can sign up for it. Zoo.com. Go to zoo.com. So I have to set up the environment for me to be able to um, show you the lab, the IMAP migration option. So zoo.com, try Zoo. Zoom, sign up. You have at least, you can even do more than 5 users. But the caveat is you need a domain name, because unlike Microsoft 365, where they will give you an initial domain, Zoho does not do that. You have to bring in a domain for you to be able to use the platform or set up the platform. However, you can set up individual one that will carry Zoho.com, email address, right? But you will not be able to do company migration or company this thing that we're trying to do here. There will be limitation on that. So just not to take any much of our time, if you have time, try to sign up for that. Let me minimize this and go back. So here I have my Microsoft 365 tenant, and I have my Zoho. I need to log in as admin here. Just log out here. This is a standard user. But to sign up is very simple. Let's just go through the process so that you can see it. Sorry about that. Zoho, we got to that 5 users. Okay, so email light register. I'm looking for even though they show it in Naira, they won't collect. I don't think they collect Naira card. It's not saying English. Let me try this. Which account do I have? I have this email. Can't remember. Can't remember. Hold on. Give me a moment. Let me confirm that I have the email address. Okay, I think I can use my M365. Yeah. Oh, I don't have it too. Okay, let me use one email here. It's going to be okay. I use Yahoo and I click sign up. W4 3D T5. Okay. So sending email to me. I can't remember my password. So what it will do here, right, is going to send OTP to my email. That's about, I think, 8 digits or 6 digits code. Then I'll put in here and verify. The moment I finish signing up, should I try something? Go back, change, change. I think I've not used it. Mhm. Okay. What is this? Um, 6, 5, X. Okay, so at least I have access to this one. So I have my verification code. I enter it and verify.
Okay. I think Madam Titi just left the call briefly, so she will join back. So meanwhile, the attendance and feedback form has been shared. So we could just fill our attendance and feedback form. It's been a wonderful section so far, learning about the hybrid model, deployment, cloud, hybrid, and also exchange mail flow. And now going into IMAP migration. It's actually a very good one. So if you have questions, just drop on the chat. So Google Workspace, someone is saying that he has access to Google Workspace. So basically, for you to do Google Workspace migration, you need a domain name. That's actually true. Without a domain name, you won't even be able to do the migration. So that's very important. That's very, very important. So you could go ahead to set up your own trial account for Zoho Workspace. So if you have, let's say, a Gmail account, you could just you could just create your own trial account. So I'll just share my screen before Madam Titi comes up. Let me try creating my own trial account for Zoho on the call. Let me share the second screen. So on my browser, let me make my browser big enough. Let's increase the size. See? Thank you so much. I'll just go now on my search bar. I'll just type Zoho Workplace email trial and hit enter. So it takes me to get started with Zoho. So I'll go for the second option, which is Zoho Workplace pricing. So I'll just right click, open on a new tab, and I'll also open this software on a new tab. So let's see what we have there. So here now, it's already telling us that okay, you want to get the complete set of tools needed for work collaboration. Sometimes one thing I always tell myself is sacrifice is very important in life. 1,248 naira is not too big, it's not so big. So we could even say, okay, we want to just sacrifice this money to sign up, or we could just go for the free version in the first place. So I will just still check for the free one. So we could just try. So now trial is below, which is 15 days free trial for professional plan. So you could use your phone to create this trial account. It doesn't mean that you have to use your laptop. So if you're doing it on your phone, you will just use your phone to create it. Then probably tomorrow, once your laptop is up, you can just use your laptop to see how Zoho Workplace work. So right now, I'll just click on try now. Let's see what it will tell us. So let me just make my screen bold enough.
Sorry,
So
since when have I been gone?
yeah, you just left for like let's say close to 10 minutes, ma. Close to 10 minutes.
Are you serious?
Yes,
I
ma.
was hearing palm dropping, like the call was dropping, and I check. I still see the stuff. So that's why I didn't even realize I've dropped. Wow,
Uh,
wow.
okay, ma.
Oh my God. So where did I get lost the connection?
When you were actually trying to when
Why,
you were actually
why you're
trying to
launching?
set up the
Why you're
trial
launching?
account.
Huh?
When you were setting up the trial account,
Mm,
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Let me just share my screen back. Apologies, everyone. I didn't even realize anything has happened. Remaining 2 weeks. Okay, so like I said, I got wow. So where I was, just sign up. That's enter your username, your email address, and then he ask you for password, and he send a code to your email that you have used to sign up, right? And then the next page is going to show you to add your domain. uh, like I said, the caveat with using the Zoho is the fact that you need to have a domain. It doesn't give you domain like Microsoft 365 does. So they don't give domain. You have to they allow you to bring your domain right from the start. So what I did was I added my domain. I have a domain here called chaville.net. I added my domain, and now I need to also verify, just like you would do in Microsoft 365 environment, to verify that you own the domain. So they give me this, and I will go through the process. I know you guys already are aware of the process to sign up already. So now, after I've added my record and I've finished verifying and it said successful, the next place is going to take us is to set up user. So I said, instead of continuing with that, I will go and use the one I've already created earlier, which is this, right? This is where you met me. So now, once you finish the domain.
And you're not sharing your screen.
Yeah, sorry.
I can see
You're
your
not
screen.
sharing your screen.
I can see
I'm
your screen.
sharing my screen.
Maybe you need to leave the meeting and join again.
Can you quickly disconnect and rejoin back? So once you add the domain finish, the next thing is going to bring you. Oh, I think that page was different. Just give me some moment. I'll get the right. I put the URL somewhere. I'll get the right one for you. I didn't go by the standard, the 5 free. I think the one I went just now is 5 free, but I didn't go by that. I did the standard one that is for say how many months, I'll be weeks also. So now, once you finish with adding your domain, and it does not mean you cannot add other domains afterward. You just need to add at least one first. So you can see here also you have organization, you have dashboard. If I go now back to the dashboard, right, I can see at a glance in this organization I have one domain. The name of my company is this, and I have 7 users in this organization. I have one group, and I have 30 licenses available to me, right? It's going to expire in 11th, that's April 11th, right? Next month is going to expire. So it will cover us for the 2 weeks that we have the courses, and you can see statistic of email, right? Now, like I said, after adding domain, the next thing it will ask you to create users. After creating user, it will take you to groups. It's not compulsory. I didn't create group at the initial. I created it later. And you can also import users. So I imported users by downloading the Excel CSV, which is somewhere here. I have Excel CSV that I created with the following headings, right, or headers to create this user account. Then after that, you have other things, mail settings. I didn't bother because I wasn't really interested. What I just tried to do was to send a few emails to these mailboxes that I've created. I try to send a few emails to them so I can test that I'm able to do IMAP migration with it. So yes, I was able to. Now, to do migration, to migrate email from either here or to Zoho, you can migrate to Zoho, you can migrate from Zoho. So one thing you have to do is to also, sorry, You also have to come here and enable IMAP, but we're not doing this, so I didn't bother. Let me check the application. I didn't bother here as well. Wait, I think I did this Google, this Office 365, because it's seeing that I'm connected to Office 365. Yeah, I think I did something. Save settings, server setting. Oh, sugar. If we go, but hopefully I'll be able to pick it up. All right, so now I've finished setting, I've created the user, created domain and everything. And the next thing, I also have to go and prepare my Microsoft 365 environment, which is this. I have my Microsoft 365 environment. I went to release some licenses so that I'll be able to have user or create user. Now, one thing you need to do is you have to create users here as well. But the users that you are creating here, the good thing about it is they don't have to match, because you need, by the time you want to migrate, you need to just state the user you are migrating from the source and into which destination target mailbox you are migrating the content. So they don't have to match. However, for things not to, be confusing to you while you are doing the migration, you can create the names to actually match. So now, one of the things that you have to do, so before you do the migration, one thing you have to do is to create what we call, let's just go. Let's start it, like you can see the process. I'm going to go to this admin center. I'm going to Exchange Online, right? Click Exchange Online, and this way, anyway. I click Exchange Online. I think it's even already open somewhere. Okay, this Exchange Online. Then I can go from here. You will see the different tabs: home, recipient, Mayflow, migration. Click the migration. Now I'm under the migration already. I'll just go to, okay, sorry, I've gone back. I'm on home now. Now I'm on migration. I created one to test the migration that is going to work for us. So here, you are going to create a migration batch. After you have created the mailboxes on Lotus, make sure you also create a few mailboxes and log into those mailboxes, then send email to them. So I have this user. This user is, what's the name of this user? This is, okay, this is my admin account, right? Then there are other users, like I said. I'll just try to log into there, but I've sent email back and forth. Now, by default, I cannot just migrate this user. I can't just migrate them. So I need to have I need to enable SMTP, IMAP from them, since I want to use IMAP migration to do the migration. So bring this back here. Now, okay, so the first thing we have to do is to give a name to the migration batch that we are creating. We give a name, you can call it batch 1, right? And you have to select the migration part. We only have 2 parts. Are we migrating Exchange, email into Exchange Online, or we are migrating away from Exchange Online? So in this case, coming into Exchange Online is called onboarding, while going out of Exchange Online is called offboarding, right? So here we want to onboard our users to Exchange Online. We click migrate to Exchange Online and we click next. In this next, we have to select the migration types rather. You notice all the migration options that we talk about, they are all here. The remote move migration is also the same as hybrid migration. And we talk about the stage migration, but like we said, the most seamless migration option is the remote move or the hybrid migration option, because user would not experience downtime during the migration. But here we are going to go by IMAP migration. If I pick IMAP migration, here it's going to take me to the next page that give me a bit of prerequisite, things that I need to do before we can do the IMAP migration. One of the steps is to create users in Microsoft 365 tenants and ensure the users are licensed. So you create the user and assign them mailbox licenses, right? Then you will also need the accounts, that's username and password of the mailboxes at the source environment. You will need the mailboxes from the source environment. And you have some link or breadcrumb that take you to some other information that you need to know or be aware of. So you will need a CSV file. You can't type email or search for. If it's this hybrid migration, you can just easily search for the account that you want to migrate. But for IMAP migration, you need to create a CSV file. So I have a CSV file. I'm just going to pull it up. Okay, this is take me somewhere. Just give me a moment. It's not loading. And pull it. Okay. Oh, okay. Finally, you see. So I have this is saying the user the email address from the source, and sorry, this is the email address that I want to migrate the user into, and this is the source email address, and this is the source password. So what we will do here is to go to this location. I don't have all the users created. Let's look at these users that we need to create. I need David. I've already created. So just for us to not take so much time, I will just assign licenses to a few cloud mailboxes here. And I will move the content of those mailboxes. I will move them into this location. Bruce Willie, or let's do multiple user creation and do test user or pilot user user 3 pilot.user3. Change it to this test user 3. Or let me just quickly Our time. So that there's no confusion. Paul and Silas. And we have Cathy Jones. So I'll just leave those three so that we can continue or finish on time. I'll click next. So here, I think they are all from the United States. Leave it as that and assign them a license. You can decide or you can choose to just assign only mailbox license, but we don't have conflict coming from anywhere. You can just assign exchange online only. Where is the license here? Is it E? Okay, exchange online plan. But I'll just leave everything and click next, add user. Now for those users that we just added, user that exist here, Zoom. Let me get the sign in from here. Mail.zoom.com. So those users, I think I forgot, I didn't reset all of them because some of the users have already, you have to reset the password. Okay. While it is loading, let's just prepare the environment. Okay, sorry, that's loaded. Left. We need David. I think I've reset David. Reset David. I need Paul. So I want to reset Paul's password. Okay. Because you are from the United States. Paul is no. Paul is from London, UK, United Kingdom. United States time. Okay, so let's see if I can get another browser up to just quickly reset the other user's name. May.zoo.com. And we have Cathy Jones. Okay. The Paul is still trying to load. Okay, so let's just continue from the other side. So at least we know we've created users. So I'm going back to, yeah, we finished creating the users. We have 3 users. We just close them. I'm going back to the Exchange tab. Okay. So here we'll click next. We have created our user based on the steps that are here, and we'll click next. So on this next page, we are going to select migration badge. If you do not have, because you are doing for the first time, you have to create a migration endpoint. You have to create a migration endpoint. So migration endpoint is it creates a connection between Exchange Online and the server and the email server that you are going to, the source email server. So what is it that you are going to put there? What is just asking is asking you where endpoint, go back, yes. If I say create a new migration endpoint, it will ask me to put a name for the migration endpoint and some setting. Let's just put something, test zoo. This concurrent is how many mailboxes can be moving concurrently. What is the maximum that can be moving? So if you have, we have set 20, if it's, you can set it to 50 or 100 depending. So if you have 100 mailboxes moving at a time, initiated rather, only 50 of them will start. Now, as one finish, remain 59 that is 49 that is moving. Then it will add another one to make it 50. So it will be 50 mailboxes that will be syncing or moving at a time. Now, after the initial sync, there's what they call incremental or data sync. Data sync is the first sync has finished and it has synced all the content of the mailbox. But because we have not changed the MX record, right? New emails are still dropping at Zoho. So now, after we've migrated everybody for the first synchronization, we will now go and change our MS record to now point to Office 365. But in that process, the email that has already dropped before we change, we have to now sync it. That is what is called incremental sync. Sync what has changed, bring it over, right? Then we'll click next. So here it will now ask us for the IMAP server that we want to connect to. For Zoho, it is SMTP. Sorry, it's for Zoho, the server, it's, let me go, let's see. Sorry that I'm going to, I supposed to have my guide main setting. Please, main setting. My internet is not behaving well again. We have run past time. So I think what will happen, wow, I got disconnected again. I think my internet went completely. Is it telling us time has gone? Because I don't understand what is going on here. Okay, so so if I go to main setting, right? You may if you want to create a multiple coexistent, this way you will do it. But that's not what we want to do now.
I am not sharing your screen.
Oh, sorry. Am I? Oh, wrong screen. Yeah, I'm sharing now. Can you see it now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So where did I go to arrive here, right? I want to get the server address from Zoho. I came to settings, main settings rather. Main settings, then under configuration, I click configuration, then he expanded the configuration for me, right? So here, this is the IMAP setting of the Zoho server, and it's already telling me as we use user at so, and then the ports. So we'll go back now to the Exchange Online portal. You can put Zoho 2 main server, sorry, the main server setting is what we're looking for rather. So we'll copy this and go and use there. Though it might tell me it's already exists. Then authentication is basic. Basic is fine. And then encryption is I pick SSL, right? By default, almost all email server in the cloud are secure, right? And it has picked the port. However, let's assume Zoho was using something other than 993. Whatever is using, I have to also impute that port here. I don't want to skip verification, then I'll click next. So a saving endpoint, and it has saved it. Even though it is the same configuration that I had before, it still added it. Now I've clicked next, and the next page is now telling me to import a CSV file, because I said we will need a CSV file. So now I have this my CSV file that I've downloaded. All you need is the email address, the mailbox in the target environment, then the username and password of the source environment. So in this case, I'm going to change this now to Cathy Jones. I've not changed category. No, it was did we change category? What's giving error? Let's see, David. David dot confirm David Romeo dot Rome. David.rome@chavi.com. And here is David's. David's R. Okay. I change it to the same password. Who else have I changed? I've changed Paul. Change Paul. Paul is Paul dot Silas at chavi.com.ng. And username is Paul. That's username at Zoe. paul.s@chavi.com.ng, right? And I use the same password to make things easy for us, right? And let's just make do with these two that I know I've changed their password. Now click save. Now I can import it here. And you can see it sees 2 users, right? And I'll click next. I don't need to select this because at least there's no unknown column that I didn't fill in the CSV file. So I'll click next. So here now, select configuration setting. It's asking for the migration option, whether I want to select some folder or I want to select items to be migrated based on time of whether time range or date range, right? But no, I want to migrate all the content of that mailbox over. Then I'll click next. I'm not selecting anything. The next page is going to ask me to decide. First is after the migration, it's going to send a report to an account. I can choose another account. This account is an Office is a Microsoft 365 account. That's why you see that it's giving me option to select other users. So I can choose or leave. Now, it will ask you whether you want to start the migration batch manually or you want to start it automatically. And you can start it by the, if I say manually, I'll be able to move forward, click, save it, and finish. Then I will have to go to the migration page. I will show you later and click start migration. If I click automatically, the moment I click save, it's going to automatically start. And if I click select start the batch automatically after this time, I will set the date and time and it will kick off at that same time, right? So those are the different options that are available for the migration. We'll leave it as automatic and it will ask us to select time here. I'll just leave it as UTC. UTC is -0 or is 0, right? We are +1. So right now, if I'm saying it will start maybe 10 a.m., 10 p.m., that means it's going to start by, it will have started by 9 p.m. because of the time I set. So I'm just going to click save, right? Now I'll click save and I'll click done. Now it will bring us to this page where we have the different migration batches that has been created. Let's say we created manual migration batch. We have to select the button here. Instead of stop migration, you will see start. Let me select this one that is currently not running. This one you are seeing sync because it has done, migration has been done before. Now there is something, this migration that I'm doing is going to fail. Why? Because I need to go to the Zoho environment, go to the user. You can actually enable all the users in the environment to be able to do IMAP. So I'm just going to go into David Rome, and I'll go to I think it's mailbox setting. Wait, so where is it? Mailbox action. Okay, yes. So if you go to the user, then mailbox setting, mailbox actions, then you will see the option to enable IMAP access. By default, you can send email, you can receive email, you can send email, you can do spam check, you can do pop. Pop is a type of method to pull email, to download email to Outlook or your phone, right? Or you can connect this one now. Mobile connection is disabled by default. So you have to enable it if you want the user to be able to connect their email to mobile device. So I'll just enable this. This is what we need really, right? That's for this user. The second user is Paul. We'll go to Paul also. And we'll do the same thing under mail settings, and we'll go to mailbox action, and we enable this. So I got error yesterday when I first started, and I have to delete it. Where's my OneNote? OneNote. So there are different errors that you can meet when you are doing your migration, IMAP migration. You can be you can have error that says let me see, I hope I saved it. Okay, I have this one here. This is a sample error that I just want to bring for us. So here, this before I initiated this, but I did not enable SMTP, right? See what it says: IMAP disabled exception, unable to access account. Please ensure that IMAP access is enabled for this account. So I have to now go to the Zoho server, go and select the user and enable the IMAP. This is one of the errors that I saw. There was one other error, but I deleted that. Now, it's saying syncing. The fact that it's saying syncing does not mean it has started syncing, right? I'll just click it to expand it so that we can see more of what is happening. So currently we have mailbox, 0 mailbox out of 2 are synced, 0 has finalized, and 0 has failed. So we are going to go in here. This is more detailed. We'll go in here and we check what is going on here. So here we can see that it is saying syncing. Okay. Once you see an item sync here, then you know the migration is working. However, we started this before we enable the IMAP, just in case it failed later, we can just reinitiate it, right? But for now, we will leave it to continue. So if I go back to the migration batch and I select the migration batch again, you notice the direction, onboarding, and the status is syncing. Even while this is running, you can actually power share into Exchange Online and see more detail. Call the batch and it will give you more detail of step by step of what is going on, what is happening as at the moment. It's going to tell you. So this is where we are going to stop today. Tomorrow, the first thing we'll do is to confirm the status here, and to confirm that the email or the content of the user mailboxes have been migrated, right? And it will be in this same state. If we look at this guy here, Steve was the one I used, and we can see the report: 1 succeeded, 0 failed. Then here, if I click it, though we're already seeing at a glance, you can see that 10 items were synced, and the syncing consistency is perfect and it's currently in sync state. Now this gives you, if you click it, it gives you more information about the total size of the email that was migrated, and then when the last sync happened. And you can also download a detailed report here. Here is the detailed report. just in case if you fail also, you can view more information from the report. If there's any error, here you get more information against just the little thing that it gave us earlier. So we'll bring this class to a close here today, and then we'll continue from here tomorrow. Do we have any questions that we need to treat before we go? All right, somebody said, oh, sorry, apologies. Somebody said the auto syncing in Zoome when enabling IMAP, is it also ticked auto syncing in Zoome? Sorry, I didn't take note of that. Let me see what you're talking about. Where is that? Auto syncing in Zoome. What do you mean?
Okay, sorry, the active sync. I just saw it now.
Okay,
it wasn't
active sync. Okay, no, it wasn't. These
Okay.
two are disabled by default. So
Okay,
you have
thank
to
you.
turn it on. And active sync, like I said, is to allow your phone to be able to connect you so that you can access your email on your phone. That's what the active sync is, a protocol that allow mobile devices, that's phones, to connect to email and access email. While the IMAP is a service that allow you to also pull email, is different from the SMTP. SMTP protocol is the one that allow you to be able to send and receive email. That's the server is the one really using that, not you, the client. But your Outlook uses the protocol we call IMAP, MAPI over HTTPS is what the new Outlook clients use today. So I was talking about, just very quickly before we go, right? Let me say I have my Outlook here. Now let's say I think I have to share the second screen instead for this one to show. Just quickly. If we were to be running a hybrid migration, now, how do you know that the Outlook client, apart from the prompt, the fact that it prompted you, sometimes user will be getting that prompt continuously. When they are getting that prompt continuously, there are ways by which you can test which server the Outlook client is still trying to connect to. So that's in case of hybrid though. So now, what you do is you go to this your little notification icon or tax menu or something. I hope I got it. Then you locate your Outlook client. If you right click normally, you have all these options. One of the options here is open Outlook on cancel server request. So now what I will do is to press control. I'll press control, my control key. You press it down while you right click on that Outlook icon. And you will see more options. You will see connection status and you see test auto configuration. If you're having issue with Outlook connecting to your mail server, you can use this test auto configuration to troubleshoot. It will tell you where issue is happening. But we want to know which server our Outlook is connecting to. I will click connection status. Now, from the connection status, you can see that you have a lot of, I have a lot of SMTP email addresses here, and one address can appear multiple times. That's because the address is connecting to different services at the same time. You see, this one is connecting to calendar, another mailbox that I have access to, and all of that. Now, if you scroll to the right, before now, you will see the server name here, but that changed from version 2016. It changed. You no longer see the actual server name. You will rather see a long name like this. But then you are able to tell here, Outlook.office365, that, oh, this guy or this particular client is connecting to Microsoft 365 environment. And which protocol is he using? HTTP, is HTTPS actually, is a secure connection and is using SSL. So you can use this to further troubleshoot, right, issue with Outlook connection to Exchange Online or even mail server at all. And I think, do we have any other question? Does that implies that we enable IMAP for each user in Zoho for this migration? Yes, you have to. However, I'm trying to locate, there is a setting that you will do that affect all mailboxes instead of coming in one after the other. I'm looking for it, but I've not seen it yet. Maybe I will let you guys know once I find it. You don't have to go individually as I'm going. But I'm not used to so I'm just trying to find my way around it just for the purpose of this test is what I signed up for. Then the migration process was not really clear for me. Now, the migration process, for every migration you want to do in Office 365, you need to create what we call endpoint. That endpoint, yeah, that endpoint, that's what we have here. Let me go back to migration batches. We usually used to see the endpoints. Okay, so I can see endpoint tab at here. I'm hoping, okay, yeah. So this is showing me all the endpoints that I've created. Before you can migrate email from another server and bring them into Office 365, you need to create what we call endpoint. Whether it's hybrid, whether it's IMAP, whether it's Google, whether it's Stage, whatever migration you want to do, you must first create an endpoint. And what is the endpoint is doing is establishing connection, a kind of connection, like creating a pipe between the two Exchange server. Exchange server 1 is here, the other one is there. The endpoint kind of, where is that our? So in this case now, instead of the third-party migration ways that we have here, there will be an endpoint that is created, and that endpoint is Exchange Online is saying, where am I migrating the server from? Give me the login detail and the server address of that server, the source server. And that is what we did here by adding, let's edit, by adding the server address is imapro.zo.com. Every mail server have their own server address. So you need to know from the mail server you are accessing, you need to know the one you are accessing from. Now you can use different approach to migrate, but the one we are focusing on is IMAP migration. And then every protocol have a port. HTTP uses port 80, HTTPS uses port 443, SMTP uses port 25. Every protocol that operates on a computer level have a port, a protocol port or service port that it uses. The IMAP general port is port 993, and the server is also listening on that port for IMAP protocol. However, you can configure it custom, you can configure secure IMAP for it. And does the server have SSL installed? Is it secure? If it doesn't have already, this is how you will know. When you log into the Zoho environment, you see this icon. There are different icons for different browsers, but this icon means it is secure. You can click it to further look at connection secure. And you can look at it, certificate. You look at the certificate. But if it is not secure, you will see
we are not seeing what you are showing us.
Hey.
I think your screen is.
What's going on? All right, let me bring it here. Okay, so this is what I'm saying, that how do you know that I was talking about based on the question the person asked, right? I said every server have their own server address, an address that you can reach them at. Like Microsoft have outlook.office.com is the address they have created and mapped to a public IP address so that anybody can reach that server over the internet. So also have different server name be different name for different services. If we go back to SOHO platform, you will notice if we go back to the mail setting, let me go to the user. Yes. No, sorry. Data migration. Yes, application. Oh my God. Apologies. So, as I said, just okay. Yes, under mail settings, right? Under configuration, you can see different services: IMAP service, POP service, SMTP service, different services, right? And each of them have the different ports that they are using. So every service have the port that it uses, whether secure or unsecure. Now, you notice that it's also said here that XSL is required because it uses a public certificate to secure the connection between any client that is accessing it. So what we are doing here is to tell Exchange Online, go to this location, imapro.zoho.com is a server. Go to this server and get the data of the user that we are going to. So you created this, what's it called? The endpoint. Whether you are doing hybrid, cutover, stage, or IMAP, you need to create an endpoint. And like I said, endpoint create a tunnel or a connection between the two email message environment. And that is what this IMAP is. This endpoint is doing. That's what it's doing here. Now, you can either create this endpoint now, or you create it at the point of creating your migration batch. Now, migration batch is now for you to say, okay, start the migration of this group of users at the same time. And we walked through it. We said, I don't want to go over it again because I know we've gone through it already. You give the migration batch a name and you tell where you are coming from, and you select the type, which is IMAP, and we go because we've already prepared our server environment for IMAP as well. We click next, and here we are supposed to select the migration endpoint that we want to use. Select anyone. I click this and I click next. Here, before you can select the users that you want to migrate to this environment, you have to create a CSV file. You have to create a user list in an Excel and save it as a CSV in a CSV format. So what Microsoft did is also to allow you to download a copy of the CSV, one with header only and one with header and sample, right? When you open it, you will see it like this with Excel, but you will see them instead of comma, you see them in columns, right? If you are opening with Excel. Once you finish, you import it, just click here and browse to where you save that Excel file that you have populated with your users that you want to migrate. You browse to it, which is IMAP sample. I select this and it will tell me the number of users that I saw in that CSV file. And if I click next, I will select whether I want to migrate specific folder from those mailboxes over here, or I want to migrate based on date. Maybe we have a mailbox that is very large and we realize that, since 2023, they stopped accessing that mailbox. But then, we cannot say the day they will need it. However, that mailbox contain content of 2000, year 2000. The user has been in the organization since that time. So, but nobody will use. Our policy even say we can get rid of email of so number of years. So in that case, you can select this option. And when you select this option, it allow you to set whether you want to set before, or you want to say you should start the migration from, or you want to say you should start the migration after a particular date. So if we select before, we have to set, if we select before this date, it will move everything before today. Everything from yesterday downward is what it will move. Anything from today upward is not going to move it. If we select after and we say start the migration from the day after 24th of March. That's what it's going to do. If we select from, right, it means we are setting a date range for it to migrate. We didn't do all of this because we didn't need it. We just went straight to click next and we finished here. Now here I said you have three options. Either you select to start the migration batch manually or automatically, or you start it at a particular time, just like we set the date and time for the content to be migrated now. So, and then when you are done, that is all. The migration starts and you will be brought back to this environment where you see the list of all the migration batches that you have created, and you can check their state, right? Whether they are moving or they are not moving. I just refresh, okay? This is an example now. I said tomorrow because time has gone. This is an example now. It is synced with error. Now, what is the error? Out of two mailboxes, is zero mailbox sync, is zero mailbox completed, and two of the mailboxes has failed. Now, what's the reason for the failure? You don't know. Let's go in and go and check. I click them one after the other, and it's saying IMAP disabled. Remember that I said we started the IMAP, the migration, before we enable the IMAP setting from each of the users here. So you go to users, select, this is a particular user, Paul Seiler, and you go to mailbox setting. Let me go back. I pick Steve Wonder, for instance. I've already enabled it. Mailbox settings, and you see mailbox actions, and you enable IMAP access. So because we have started before we enable, that's why we had that error. So what we can just do here is to say, let's go back to be able to say resume migration. I will just resume it and we'll close for today. How about cost of bulk users? Yes, you can do bulk user. Like I said, on this, is it from the Zoho? If you are talking about from Zoho side, yes, there's a setting. I will look for the setting before tomorrow. There's a setting that allow you to enable for multiple users at time. And I think we can also check if we select multiple user, because it has a checkbox, right? If I select multiple user here, let's see this user that we have not enabled yet, and Cathy. Don't know if I've enabled. Okay, no. Let's go to Ray, and we click there. Does it allow us to do bulk? Trying to see. From the look of things, you see, I can't perform that setting. I can't perform the bulk here, but there's a setting that allow you, instead of going to individual user, to enable it from somewhere else. However, I don't know that place. I'll look for it before tomorrow. In case of any scheduled migration, we set time when the migration would occur. Does it necessarily mean at the time the system must be internet enabled? Oh, yes, it depends. If the server you want to migrate from is an on-prem server, because you can choose to host Lotus Notes on an on-prem server, or any other or Zimbra on an on-prem server. So once you set that migration for a particular time, you must make sure that that server is up and it has internet access. That's Exchange Online can reach the server at any time. That's what it says. Now, if it is Office 365 or Microsoft 365, Microsoft 365 is always online, it's always available. So you don't need to get extra internet. And the fact that you are connecting from your own computer does not mean your computer has to be up. No, the setting you have put in place is taking place from the server side, this is just an interface for you to be able to have access to manage your environment, your own environment. But you don't have to leave your computer on. However, for you to monitor to see whether migration is going on or not going on, you can log into the portal as you would do any normal time. Go to the Exchange Online, migration batches, and monitor the progress from there. So you don't have to leave the server. You don't have to leave your computer on. I hope I answer your question. Okay. All right. Thank you all very much. I think I will stop here. This lab that we did today, I will also share the step-by-step guide with us, and also get the step-by-step guide to sign up SOHO and set up the environment so you can follow it through when you are able to. Thank you, and do enjoy the rest of the evening. Good night.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel.
Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma.
Thank you so much, Ma.
You're welcome.
True.